In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix plantar fasciitis. I used to have terrible pain in the bottom of my foot and in my heel. Every time I would step down, it would really hurt. And stretching my calves, doing massage for my foot and ankle, and even wearing thicker soled shoes didn't do anything. Orthotics didn't do anything. I'm going to show you how I fixed my foot pain using stretches and some activation exercises that restored blood flow and made everything feel normal again. So watch through to the end so you understand everything that I've done to fix my foot pain. Now, if you're ready, let's get ready to think right, move right, and feel right. So the first stretch we're gonna do is for your hip flexors, which live here. They go here on your femur, up around the front of your pelvis, and then to the front of your spine here. There's also some that are right here on the inside bowl, and they all attach right in there. You also have your quadriceps muscles, which attach right down on the front of your thigh, up onto the front of your pelvis here. So what we're gonna do is just go into a standing hip flexor stretch. You're gonna have one leg back, one leg forward, front knee is going to bend, and then you're going to keep this back knee pretty straight as you can. Squeeze this butt cheek here, tuck your tailbone down, and feel the stretch going across the front of the hip towards the inner thigh here, right next to your family jewels. All right, so you're going there, you're really keeping that cranked down like that, so you feel that stretch. Stay there for 30 seconds, stay there for 60 seconds, stay there for up to 2 minutes if you can tolerate it. If it feels really bad to do it that long, don't do it that long, but start off with that 30-second hold, feel that stretch. It should be like a medium stretch. Don't go so far into it that you feel like you can't breathe. I want you to be able to breathe the whole time and just open some of that stuff up. Then go ahead and come out of that and test to see how the bottom of your foot feels, because you might notice what I noticed when I first had this problem and when I first stumbled across the solution, which is that after I stretched my hip flexors, my foot felt a whole lot better. Then if it's happening on both sides for you, make sure you do the other side. If it's worse on one side than the other, or one side feels obviously stiffer and tighter, then make sure you spend a little extra time on that stiffer side. And again, test that out, see how that foot feels. Now at this point, you might rightfully be thinking, why are we doing stretches for the hip muscles and not for the muscles of my foot? And the answer is because you've probably already seen all the videos out there on the internet that tell you that you're supposed to stretch your foot or your ankle, and you've already gotten frustrated by doing that because it's just not getting you the results that you want. I ran into the same problem. Massaging my foot, massaging my calves, doing some stretching for my calves and ankles only provided very temporary relief and didn't really seem to get to the root of the problem. That's not to say that calf, ankle, and foot massage isn't a good idea. It actually is a good idea, but if you've already done that and you still have that foot pain, then you need to be doing something more to fix the problem completely. Which now brings us to the second stretch, which is going to hit the muscles back here, meaning your butt. For this stretch, you're just going to take your ankle and put it onto your thigh here. The shin is going to form an angle here. If you're really stiff, it's going to be way up here. If you're not so stiff, it's going to be lower and almost parallel to the floor. What we want to do is just kind of gradually coax it down so that it's getting closer to that position where it is parallel to the floor. But if you can't, do not force it. Don't hurt yourself trying to jam it there. Just get it to where you can go while feeling a little bit of a stretching, pulling something sensation back here in your hip, right around your glutes, those deep hip rotators. We're just kind of pushing that knee down a little, and then you're gonna start feeling like, ooh, what's happening back there? Then you're gonna make this even more fun, because what you wanna do is start to hinge down towards your shin. So you're keeping that knee down a little bit, and then just gradually shifting forward. Ooh, mama mia. You're gonna feel more stretch happening all around here. And you just want to take your time. You don't have to force it. You don't have to impress me or anybody else, because nobody else is impressed. Nobody cares how far you can go on your pigeon stretch. So you're just gonna go, keep easing into it, breathe. Safety alert here, do not push anything or lean forward so hard that your knee feels like it's going to explode. Please, you want to only feel the stretch here. I don't want you to be curling your spine to attempt to cheat and get yourself closer to your shin. We want the chest and the ribs to actually come down towards that shin, or if you want, you can also be shifting so that you're coming down towards the foot or towards the knee. All of those angles are fine. They're going to highlight different areas of stiffness in that whole booty region, and that's fine. You want to develop more length in multiple positions. You want to have volition at every position. And there's a bonus here because as you get more and more flexible, you can actually clean your feet and your toes with your tongue. And now we all know why your feet are so dirty. Of course, we want to do this on both sides, and if you feel like one side is just obviously stiffer than the other, then do it for longer periods on the stiffer side. When you first start, I suggest starting off with 30 to 60 second holds. Make sure that it's not so intense that you can't breathe. Remember to breathe and just let that medium kind of stretch and intensity get that hip to open up more. As you get better and better at the stretch, you can hold it for longer periods, a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes even 3 minutes. You need to find the right amount of time for yourself. I have a video that'll explain that. You can find that one in the description box, but in general, start off shorter and then gradually work your way up as you feel like you can tolerate it. Now, I already know that some of you are too tight to even get that ankle up onto the thigh, and here's what you're gonna do. Use your couch, use a bench, use a chair, whatever you've got, you're gonna take it in front of you, leg's gonna go on top. So because you're so tight, it's gonna be hard to actually put this shin horizontal, so that's fine. Let it be up at an angle, and then you're just going to get the stretch this way. Your back foot is just behind you, so you're balancing yourself like that. Whatever height you have available is fine. Just make sure you're not straining this back knee because it's super weak and you're having to hold it in a bent position. If you need to, have it on something higher. Whatever you got to make this comfortable is fine. Then you're just going to put your leg up on there, have it at the angle, and then you can work on your hinges. So everything we talked about before, you can start leaning yourself forward over the knee, or you could start doing it towards the foot, like so. All that is cool and fine. Just give yourself the support you need and the assistance so it feels doable. Oh my God, this foot needs a good cleaning. After you've done that stretch, do a little test and see how your feet feel. Are you noticing that they actually feel quite a bit better? I was super surprised when I discovered this solution myself because we don't think about the hips as the cause of your plantar fascia inflaming. And frankly, I don't think the plantar fascia is necessarily even inflaming. That's just how we've described the problem of having pain in the bottom of the foot. But pain in the bottom of the foot could also be the result of poor nerve transmission and blood flow from up here in the hip. So if we have a kink in the hoses higher up, then we're going to have some problems down below. And while the doctors and podiatrists out there might be saying, no, 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 it must be the plantar fascia because the pain is in the bottom of the foot, it's important to remember that this is totally plausible because if you tie a tourniquet somewhere on your arm, say, your hands are also not going to feel good once you have cut off blood flow and nerve transmission long enough. Your hand might feel puffy and inflamed, but that would be because you cut off proper blood flow and nerve transmission higher up, and all the massage and strengthening and stretching you did down here wouldn't matter one bit if you still had the tourniquet right up here. So what we're doing with your hip flexor and butt stretching is trying to take that tourniquet off so you can finally clean the bottom of your feet. I feel like this video is going to open up whole new categories on OnlyFans. Now for me, those two stretches actually knocked out my plantar fasciitis, foot pain, heel pain really well and for a long period of time. And as I've gotten older, I've actually noticed a third exercise that's really helpful that I'm gonna share with you now. Hey, I wanna say a huge hi and thanks to my new Patreon patrons, Stephen, Mark, Riss, Colleen, Kenneth, Melinda, and Christopher. Thank you guys all so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd like to support me too, go to patreon.com/uprighthealth. And if you don't wanna do that, but you still wanna stay connected, connected, go to uprighthealth.com/newsletter. Actually, everybody should do that. Go there now, get on my newsletter. So just in case YouTube ever cancels me or I get deplatformed or whatever, we still stay connected. All right, let's get back to it. This third and final exercise is to strengthen your hamstrings. We're constantly sitting on our hamstrings and killing them. We're forcing them to die as we sit at our computers or sit on the couch watching Netflix. To make this exercise effective, you're gonna need an ankle weight, but if you don't have one, it's okay, because many of you out there are gonna have hamstrings that are so weak, you're still gonna feel cramping just by doing it without any sort of resistance. So take your ankle weight, put it on, and then hold on to the wall or a sturdy piece of furniture, and then you're just going to be curling your foot up towards your butt. Now again, if you have really weak hamstrings, I'm warning you right now, your hamstrings are gonna cramp and you're gonna hate me. But I'm totally okay with that fact, and if you really want to show me how angry you are, you can just hit that like button or the subscribe button and I will get the message, I promise. You're gonna just do this until you get fatigued. That might be 5 repetitions, that might be 10, it might be 20 repetitions. What you're gonna do is make sure you feel fatigue in the hamstrings. You don't want to feel like you're hurting your back or smashing your back. You don't want to feel like it's a bunch of work right up here. It should be here in the back of your thigh. If you feel cramping, I'm sorry, just relax, wait for it to pass, and know that over time, as you build more strength in the hamstrings, it's not gonna happen so much. Make sure that you do this on both sides so that your hamstrings develop evenly, and if you feel like one side is obviously weaker than the other side, make sure to do some extra reps or even a full extra set on that weaker side. When you're doing this exercise, you're going to fatigue, but go ahead and count. See if you can get to 15 on both sides evenly. If not, again, train things so that they develop a little more evenly. Talk about how much weight to use. When you first start out, just start off with light weight, like 1 pound is fine. And then as you get stronger, as you can do at least 10 reps without feeling like you're gonna die, you can bump up the weight by like a pound. Don't try to do a 10-pound ankle weight right off the bat if you've never done anything. I guarantee your hamstrings will hate you and then you will hate you because you're gonna be so sore, or you're gonna have just the most massive cramp from trying to lift too much weight with your poor atrophied little hamstrings. For those of you who have seen my older video on plantar fasciitis, I added this to my routine because I noticed recently just how much of a difference it makes for my foot health. I noticed that after sitting on a chair in front of the computer all day long, that my hamstrings would just kind of feel like blah, and then I'd get up and they just felt weird. And just doing some extra hamstring curls, using a little bit of weight, made everything feel better up here, which also made my feet feel better for some reason. And a more obsessive, neurotic past version of myself would have opened up an anatomy textbook and tried to trace all the nerves that go down from the hip into the bottom of the foot. But these days, I don't care. If you really care, I suggest you crack open an anatomy textbook and go check things out yourself, and then you can drop a very detailed comment down below that helps explain the whole phenomenon to everybody else. Now let's take a second to talk about how often to do these exercises. First, let's acknowledge that these exercises are not that hard and not that intense. So it's not like you're going to damage yourself permanently if you do these exercises every single day. But if you don't really have much experience with these stretches and these hamstring exercises, then you might want to take it a little bit slow. So if you are a total beginner, I suggest that you take it slow and just do this twice in your first week on Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Saturday, so you can get a feel for things and make sure that your body doesn't totally freak out after you do these exercises. And after that first week, or whenever you feel confident that your body can handle this new stimulus, then go ahead and bump it up. You may work up to every single day, or maybe you find only 3 days a week is fine, or maybe you find that you need to do it twice a day because you sit so dang much. I just want you to remember not to cripple yourself with soreness. There's nothing to be gained by hurting yourself when you're trying to help yourself. At the same time, you need to find the right dosage for your stiff body. So if you are really stiff in your hips, more stimulus to open them up is gonna be really helpful. Somebody who's got super tight hip flexors probably needs to spend a lot of time every day opening up those hip flexors and opening up those glutes if they're really tight so that you can finally clean your big toe. Just remember that our muscles function better when we constantly train them to be better. If you just let your muscles atrophy and stiffen up into these tight little balls, you're gonna feel like garbage. The reality is atrophy aches, and if you allow your muscles to atrophy, all you're gonna feel is aching. And it might not always be exactly where the atrophy is. In the case of my foot pain, I've noticed that atrophy in my hamstrings results in my feet feeling worse. But that's not to say you should totally ignore your feet and never do foot exercises. You should make sure your feet and your ankles are strong and flexible. And if you need help with that, I have a video for beginners to help you strengthen your feet and ankles. I will link to that video in the description box down below and over here. Please let me know if this video helps you with your foot pain by dropping me a comment down below, and share this with someone else you know who doesn't want to spend $200 on custom orthotics. And before I forget, if you do want to build stronger feet and toes and ankles, I highly recommend you start transitioning into minimalist barefoot style shoes. That allows your feet and your ankles and your toes to actually use the muscles that are in your foot, and that's going to help a lot. There's a huge myth in conventional medicine that says that your feet are really fragile and they need so much padding to survive. But that doesn't really make any sense when you realize that humans for millennia have been running barefoot for long distances over dirt, rocks, etc., without 2 inches of rubber between their foot and the ground. And to this day, there are still elite level runners who grow up running barefoot. So do your feet a favor and check out some barefoot shoes. I'm gonna leave a link to a video that talks about this topic down in the description box. If you're on the journey of rebuilding your body at home, go to uprighthealth.com/DIY to find a program that'll help you. For more free videos to help you with your body, check these out here. To support this channel, find me on Patreon at patreon.com/uprighthealth. Like, share, and subscribe with the bell notification on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.